Welcome to our reading. I'm going to be starting on page 152 in the PDF. Pause the video, pull up your PDF reading, and follow along as I read. I'm making annotations. You're going to be taking notes. Ralph sat down and began to, before I begin, this is the state part of chapter 8 where the group is splitting. Jack is upset that he is not getting his way. He stomps off, and certain boys choose Ralph or Jack. And here we go. So, what is the difference between the tribes now? That's what I want you to be listening for. I want you to be looking for, and listening for symbols. I want you to be listening for conflict between the characters. Ralph sat down and began to poke little holes in the sand. He was surprised to see that one had a drop of blood on it by it. He examined his bitten nail closely and watched the little glob of blood that gathered where the quick was gnawed away. Piggy went on speaking. I seen them stealing off when we was gathering wood. They went that way, the same way as he went himself. Ralph finished his inspection and looked up into the air. The sky, as if in symphony with the great changes among them, was different today, and so misty that in some places the hot air seemed white. The disk of sun was dull silver, as though it were nearer and not so hot. Yet the air stifled. Stifled means to take your breath away. They always been making trouble, haven't they? Referring to the split of the groups, Jack and Ralph. The voice came near his shoulder and sounded anxious. We can do without them. We'll be happier now, won't we? Ralph sat. The twins came, dragging a great log and grinning in their triumph. They dumped the log among the embers so the sparks flew. We can do all right on our own, can't we? For a long time, while the log dried, caught fire, and turned red hot, Ralph sat in the sand and said nothing. He did not see Piggy go to the twins and whisper to them, nor how the three boys went into the forest together. Here you are. He came to himself with a jolt. Piggy and the other two were by him. They were laden with fruit. I thought perhaps, said Piggy, we ought to have a feast. Kind of. And here's where I want you to pay attention and take this as an annotation. What is the difference between the boys? Here you have Piggy and Simon and Ralph representing the intelligence, and what are they eating? The fruit. And then you have the representation of the hunters, the bloodlust, hunting. So that's Jack's crew. So just pay attention to some of these differences. The three boys sat down. They had a great mass of fruit with them, and all of it properly ripe. They grinned at Ralph as he took some and began to eat. Thanks, he said. Then, with an accent of pleased surprise, thanks. Do all right on our own, said Piggy. It's them that haven't no common sense that make trouble on this island. We'll make a little hot fire. What does the fire represent? What is Piggy always suggesting? Ralph remembered what had been worrying him. Where's Simon? I don't know. You don't think he's climbing the mountain? Again, what does Simon represent? Where is Simon always ending up in? Piggy broke into his noisy laughter and took more fruit. He might be. He gulped his mouthful. He cracked. Simon had passed through the area of fruit trees, but today the little uns had been too busy with the fire on the beach, and they had not pursued him there. He went among the creepers until he reached the great mat that was woven by the open space and crawled inside. Beyond the screen of leaves, the sunlight pelted down, and the butterflies danced in the middle, their unending dance. So I underline that to give you a sense of what nature is like. Butterflies dance in the middle of their unending dance. So picture the scene that it is now, and now what's about to take place, what is about to change. That's what I want you to focus on. He knelt down, and the arrow of the sun fell on him. At the other time, the air had seemed to vibrate with heat. Always about the vibration. but now it's threatened, so the vibration is now changing. Soon the sweat was running from his long, coarse hair. He shifted restlessly, but there was no avoiding the sun. Presently he was thirsty, then very thirsty. He continued to sit. Far off along the beach, Jack was standing before a small group of boys. He was looking brilliantly happy. Hunting, he said. He sized them up. Each of them wore the remains of a black cap, and ages ago they had stood in two demure rows, and their voices had been the songs of angels. What is this referring to? What did the boys first come to the island as? What is it representing? What innocence? What changed? We'll hunt. I'm going to be chief. They nodded, and the crisis passed easily. And then about the beast. They moved, looked at the forest. I say this, we aren't going to bother about the beast. He nodded at them. We're going to forget the beast. That's right. Yes, forget the beast. This is the boys yelling that back to him. If Jack was astonished by their fervor, he did not show it. And another thing, we shan't dream so much down here. This is near the end of the island. They agreed passionately out of the depths of their tormented private lips. Now listen, we might go later to the Castle Rock, but now I'm going to get more of the biggins away from the conch and all of that. What about the rules? What does the conch represent? What is Jack trying to get them away from? We'll kill a pig and give a feast. He paused and went on more slowly. And about the beast. When we kill, we'll leave some of the kill for it. Then it won't bother us, maybe. So, what are we talking about here? What kind of sacrifice is Jack talking about here? The blood. What is the theme here? He stood up abruptly. We'll go into the forest now and hunt. He turned and trotted away. After a moment, they followed him obediently. They spread out nervously in the forest. Almost at once, Jack found the dung and scattered roots and told of a pig, and soon the track was fresh. Jack signaled the rest of the hunt to be quiet and went forward by himself. He was happy and wore the damp darkness of the forest like his old clothes. He crept down a slope up to rocks and scattered trees by the sea. The pigs lay bloated, bags of fat, sensuously enjoying the shadows under the tree. So the pigs are in this nature. They're relaxing. They're with their youngins. There was no wind, and they were unsuspicious, and practice had made Jack silent as the shadows. He stole away and instructed his hidden hunters. Presently, they all began to inch forward, sweating in the silence and heat, under the trees and ear flapped idly. A little apart from the rest, sunk in deep maternal bliss, lay the large sow of the lot, sow being the pig. She was black and pink, and the great bladder of her belly was fringed with row of piglets that slept or burrowed and squeaked. So here we have a description. How are they describing this female pig and her piglets? Her connection. What is the connection to nature? What is this representing? This is a major part right here. 15 yards from the drove, Drax stopped, and his arm straightened and pointed at the sow. He looked round in inquiry to make sure that everyone understood, and the other boys nodded him. The row of right arms slid back. Now! And this is where I'm going to stop, and you guys are going to pick up the reading from here. It gets a little gory, but again, it is describing the fall of human nature into this bloodlust and the difference in the tribe. Again, what was the difference in the tribe? What were Ralph and Piggy eating versus what is Jack looking to do? What was the theme of what drove the boys to choose sides? What does Simon represent? These are the things that I want you to think about as you continue reading. We're coming to the climax of the book now. We only have a few classes left, guys. So really dig in, review these past lessons so that you're caught up with the reading. And I will see you on the next go round, guys. Thank you and stay well.